I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now, today we're reading from the book of Isaiah, chapter 13. Let's focus on verses 9 through 11. Look, the day of the Lord is coming, cruel, with rage and burning anger, to make the earth a desolation and to destroy the sinners on it. Indeed, the stars of the sky and its constellations will not give their light. The sun will be dark when it rises, and the moon will not shine. I will bring disaster on the world, and their own iniquity on the wicked. I will put an end to the pride of the arrogant and humiliate the insolence of tyrants. Now, Isaiah 13 introduces us to an important biblical expression, the day of the Lord. And the first occurrence refers to a not-so-distant horizon in Isaiah's day, to the invasion of Babylon, some 150 years away. But the second instance is quite different. It is vital to understand that events actually separated by long periods of time are seen from an Old Testament perspective as following close after each other. So a lot of time will go by from one chapter to the next. You go, well, that was just the last chapter, but that could be 100 years later. It's like a condensation of time where events are condensed and then couched next to each other, but they actually occur decades or even millennia apart. And this perspective is similar to what we experience when looking at two objects from a long distance away. They appear close together when in fact they're not. So the prophecy of Joel regarding Shavuot, which is the Festival of Weeks, aka the day of Pentecost, it is an example of this. Joel chapter 3, verses 28 and 29. After this I will pour out my spirit on all humanity. Then your sons and your daughters will prophesy. Your old men will have dreams, and your young men will see visions. I will pour out my spirit on the male and the female slaves in those days. Immediately after the prophecy of the outpouring of the Spirit, the prophet Joel gives an apocalyptic account of the coming day of the Lord. Consider this, Joel chapter 2, verses 30 and 31. And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. And the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord. So the day of the Lord can sometimes refer to a day that is in the near future, but usually it is a phrase used by prophets to describe a final day of consummation, when the wicked will be punished. Here's a question. When the events that the prophets predict come to pass, exactly as prophesied, why is it that we doubt? That we doubt the probability of those events yet to pass. When everything they predicted up until now has come true, why do we say, yeah, but the stuff for the future's not? Again, there's two things that confound a fool. Number one, how slow God is to act in judgment. And number two, how quickly he shows up to judge. Are you prepared for the day of the Lord? Because that is why Jesus has died on the cross, why he has risen from the grave, to defeat sin and to defeat death and to give you the only way out. Take it while it's offered today. The day of salvation is today, according to the Bible. And the right time to do the right thing is always right now. If you want to know more about how to surrender to the gospel, it's very simple. Lord, I believe, and now help me with my unbelief. And he'll do that. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. You know, Groundworks Ministries operates entirely through financial donations from faithful people like you. And yes, we do need your monthly support. Donating is secure and it's easy at our website, groundworksministries.com. Another way to help is just tell people about us. Tell them about Groundworks Ministries. Share these podcasts with friends and family and on your social media. Do not be afraid to proclaim the truth of God's Word. Of course, you can always direct folks to our website, groundworksministries.com.